is how are you staying creative? Because somebody like you doesn't have an option of just taking, you know, random breaks and not being able to keep the music going, because you're one of the people who keeps us listening and keeps us inspired. So how are you able to maintain your creativity and inspiration during this
Well,
time?
I always tell people that, you know, creativity is like a bank, like having a bank account. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you know, deposit, you know, money into your account in order to have money to withdraw, right? So the depository, you know, information is really life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you know, it's about life experiences, and it's about what I said the other day about the song being in the conversation, right? So like, you know, we've had this conversation
Yeah.
many times, you know what I mean, about songwriting. Um, the song's in the conversation, and I feel like through those conversations, that's how we're able to come up with these concepts. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, nothing news under the sun. I mean, you know, everything, every subject, we've all experienced an array of emotions, an array of subject matters, whether it was falling in love, falling out of love, heartbreak, and cheated on, doing the cheating, you know, your mama, you know, going through something, you losing a family member. Like we've all had an array, and all of us have, no matter, you'd be surprised how many, no matter how different you think we are, you know what I mean, in this world, we all go through the same shit. You know what I mean? So I think that as long as you allow yourself to indulge in the human experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, that you can find yourself, you know, you can find inspiration anywhere.
Okay, so where's the human experience coming from during this time period? Because I know people are just, they're so used to getting out and going to a concert and being inspired, or going to a club and being inspired. So is it these types of conversations? Is it conversations on the phone? Like, how do you get that interaction?
I'm gonna keep it real. During this whole pandemic, you know, quarantine kind of situation, I feel like it's brought the world closer. In many ways, you know, we're seeing things that we would never thought we would see, like Teddy Riley and Babyface on Instagram playing records live. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're seeing things that we never thought we would see, and people that we would never thought we could even engage with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, to me, I feel like the world is getting tighter and smaller. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And this is where the human interaction comes from. It's coming from conversations like this. It's coming from, I mean, I know so many people's DMs are probably going crazy, and people are connecting randomly through, you know, situations like that. I really feel like Instagram specifically has been, you know, a key factor to pull in, you know, to people engage in this way. Like Nigel D says, I mean, it took a pandemic to get Babyface on IG Live. Like, Babyface is not on Instagram. Like, Dr. Dre was on Instagram to watch the Babyface Teddy Riley battle. Dr. Dre don't be on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Not regular, not under normal circumstances. Now we're looking at the new normal, and people are starting to see that this engagement is also is also like expanding their audience, right? So expanding their audience. So now people are looking at ways. Oh, this is actually a way to make money, probably a little more efficiently, and not be so, you know what I'm saying? Like, not where the work is not as hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you got people doing concerts at the crib, and you know, and like for Babyface to put on a guitar and just go.
What do you think the impact of that moment was?
I mean, it shifted everything. I think that it made Teddy, because Teddy had a whole band the other day, and then you know, they told Teddy don't bring no instruments, and then Babyface, you know, Kenny just picks up a guitar. I know Teddy's looking like, wait a second, let me go get my piano, you know. And so it's but I think what I hope is that they both learned a valuable lesson with that. I feel like Teddy in front of a keyboard and know all the extra stuff would have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But like I said, I look at that and I say, like, just imagine if you could get a Babyface to do a concert on live, just him and a guitar, and he sings, like, you know, he does an hour. You know what I mean? Or if you can get a Babyface and a very, very stripped down Blackstreet. You know what I mean? On a live, doing record for record, and Teddy playing and the guys singing and Babyface then does a record. Like, you know what I mean? It's just we're just very, very, very we're more connected. You know what I'm saying? Like last night I did my Zoom call and it was, you know, I had Boys to Men, and it was me, Boys to Men, Usher Raymond, Isaac Curry, and people from all different walks of life.
I saw
But we all
Donis in there, Greg, and
E. Dawkins, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's we had a good time. We was laughing, Usher was dancing, and Boys to Men is singing, and, you know, Isaac is singing, and, you know, E. Dawkins is singing. I mean, it was just a dope energy. You know, D. Scance was in there. We had all kinds of producers. Tim from Tim and Bob was in there. It was just a really good, and that was impromptu. Like, literally, the reason why I went live last night was because everybody was complaining about them not being able to get into, you know, the actual Babyface Teddy thing. So I was like, well, man, I'm you know, I obviously am in it. Let me go live and do our own little watch party. We were already doing a watch party. I was like, I'm going live real quick. And it really, really, you know, it really, really gave us a snapshot of the culture and how important our culture. And we always talk about R&B and talk about how people, you know, we talk about how the whole, you know, culture has been compromised, was compromised. You know what I mean? Because just, you know, every era has a shift. You know what I mean? Like I told you, like, I remember you asking me a few years ago, like, what I think about R&B music, and, you know, is R&B dead and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, well, my perspective is, you know, everything comes back around, number one. And number two, every era has, you know, depending on, I mean, timeless is timeless. Yeah. Period. It's timeless, is genreless, it's just fucking timeless. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you focus on making timeless shit, then you will always outlive the constraints of genre. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. You know, now, you know, this is 4 years since Prince Rogers Nelson left this earth. There are plenty of tributes and everything going on. And I remember being in the record room over at So, and I forget what vinyl it was you played. There was a couple of gems that you gave me. It was like about something about the artwork, or it could have been it had to do with 1999, I want to say.
Okay, yeah.
There have been plenty of gems that you've given me behind the stories. And just because, you know, it's that 4-year mark since he left this earth, I was just wondering if you could impart any you know, like, I know you don't know, or, you know, type fun fact type of thing about Prince. I've got Prince playing in the background as well. What would actually, let's start with your first experience of Prince. Okay. And then anything that the viewers out there wouldn't necessarily know that they could appreciate.
Well, my mother was a Prince fanatic. I'm talking about ridiculous, right? And so as a little kid, like a, you know, 4-year-old, you know what I'm saying? You know, you remember records like, you know, for me, I was 4, and when I was 3 or 4, like 81, 82. So you think about what I remember about Prince is records like, I remember Controversy, heavy, right? I remember that very, very heavy, right? But then here's a period. I'm going to try to, you know, when I start telling stories, I can get along with it. I'm going to try to. But what's amazing, what I remember, my mother used to buy records all the time. Like every week, there's a store in Houston called Sound Waves. And every week, her, my Aunt LJ, or anybody that would go get a gang of records and come like at least 10 records a week, right? So I remember this particular week, they bought back 10 records. It was Prince 1999. I remember Kashif's debut album, since this '83. So this is like, you know, Rick James, Cold Blooded. It was like certain records that I distinctly remember. Earth, Wind and Fire's Power Light. There's just certain records I remember as a kid, just looking at the album covers and just vividly remembering. And so 1999 was one of those records. My mother went to the Triple Threat tour, all that, right? Like literally a Prince fanatic. So my first experience with Prince was literally like on a full scale was like 1999. Like that album was an album that we listened to through and through. It was the first time I ever saw a double album. It was the first time I ever saw like artwork on the actual print of the joint. Like, you know what I mean? Like usually when you would get the label of a record, it'd just be very standard, like a Warner Brothers logo at the top and songs at the bottom. But his particular artwork had the eye. It was like his eye and shit. And it was just some ill shit. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and the artwork was ill, and you open up and it was just crazy, right? And inside of the artwork, this is what we were talking about. Inside of the Prince 1999 artwork, the I in his name, okay, has like a little football thing that's kind of like a little like football shaped thing, and in reverse it says "and the revolution." Oh, so this was like him. Everything about Prince was always connected. Like if you look at the trajectory of his career, especially in the '80s, everything was like connected to the last, right? Yeah. So from there, people, I mean, it wasn't even, you couldn't even see, you have to like be like studying the cover to see that it says "End the Revolution" because it's backwards. Wow. Right? So in his mind, he already knew what his next band was going to be. He had already started writing. He had the infamous Purple Book where he wrote, you know, the ideas for Purple Rain. Now he already knew what he wanted to do. He already knew what was coming next. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So he's one of those artists that's just visionary, and just beyond anything we can even comprehend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
I want to ask for the younger songwriters that are out there. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, when getting that first placement seems like it's going to take forever. You know, it seems like you're never going to get it. You meet people who say they can get it to this person or get a song to that person. You know, there are a lot of swings and misses involved in this game. Yeah. I distinctly remember "Get Gone." That was my first experience hearing your work. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know, for the writers out there and the producers out there who are, you know, just getting into it, and they're kind of getting into it in this age where things are a little different than they were then. You know, they're not necessarily using the MPC. They might be just using Fruity Loops, or, you know, they might be click and press, you know, type of producers. What type of advice would you give in terms of putting yourself in the position to get that first placement, or to get closer to that first placement?
Well, it's one or two things, right? You know, when I was coming up, we didn't have access. You know what I mean? Like these, you young creatives, y'all have access, right? You know, you can actually go into somebody's DM. You know, you can actually hit up. You know, it seems like a long shot. Yeah. Right? Just imagine how much of a long shot it was for me in the 90s, having to send tapes, having to, first of all, identify who the A&R was, have the presence of mind to read and understand who A&R was, and then finding the address on the tape or the CD, and then having the nerve or the gall to send tapes to really nowhere. You didn't really know where it was going. You know what I mean? You just, hopefully it would land on somebody's desk. Hopefully it would land, you know, back then it was very difficult to get to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Specific, without a middle person, you know, without somebody saying, yo, I know this guy, so you give me the record and I'm gonna take it to, you know, without a middle person, it was, you can't imagine how difficult it was to get a record to a record company, much less get a record to an artist. You know what I'm saying? Now, you guys have direct contact to artists if you want. You know what I mean? You can send an artist something in the DM, and if they think it's dope, they'll get on it right then, send you back in MP3. Like, this shit can really be that quick. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be a hustle. I mean, like I said, it's either or. But I feel like those lines to get into those, now the lines are so long. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you want to get a placement on Rihanna, nigga, that line is down the block, around the corner. You know what I mean? You got to write something that is crazy. You know, and hopefully it gets to her. You know what I mean? Or just be in the right place at the right time. The second thing that I would suggest, though, especially in this time, right, is develop something. Find something, develop something, because if you do an EP, like you're putting out projects, right? You're making projects, you're putting out projects, and you have things in the marketplace.
Yep.
So you may, like, right now, somebody was like, oh, I don't know who Corvet is. I'm seeing him on live now. He's on the CSEC Live. I haven't heard of him. I'm gonna go check him out. Now I'm gonna go check you out. You have like 2 or 3, 4 projects there that you can go listen to. Yeah. And the word of mouth becomes, I mean, it's a grind, and I know you know it. I know you know the grind, right? Yeah. It's a grind, right? But if this is what you really want to do, yep. You know, if this is what you're passionate about, it's who you are, then you're gonna do it anyway. Yep. Right? Yep. So utilize the tools that you have. Well, the big difference between then and now is that we didn't have these tools, man, and the tools we were able to get were not easy to come by, man. Like, for me to be a producer, before I even started, you know, before I can even press play on a drum machine, before I can even plug it in, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, MPCs cost $3,500. Yeah. You tell me, no, I'm sorry. MPC 3000 cost them near $5,000 back in those days. So about $5,000 in '93 for me in the 10th grade, 11th grade. Imagine that's my mama. Mama, let me get. I need to get this drum machine. My mama like, what? Wow. Better go get you a job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but I'm saying, that's the thing. Like it was so much. I mean, and even if I, you know, like, let's say I got an ASR 10, right? Right. Oh man. Even with an ASR 10, right? I still gotta buy speakers. I still gotta buy an amp. You know, hopefully get a mic and do a some type of basic demo. You know, now people do demos, shit sound perfect because you got all kinds of plugins. Like, your laptop gives you, you know, you could damn near master your demo now. But think about how hard it was to hear a hit in 1993 from a little guy in his bedroom at his mama house on a little ass keyboard with a karaoke joint, writing songs and sending them to record labels with having the you know, the gall to send these terrible demos to record labels in hope that people would actually be able to hear through the quality. That sharpens you as a songwriter, that sharpens you as a producer, because you know you got to do your best in those little circumstances. Well, now you got a laptop, nigga. You could do an album, you could do a video, you could edit that bitch, you can put it out. Yep. On your laptop, you can mark it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. The difference is the tool.
Do you feel like from a production standpoint, because we're talking about production, and you know, you went to a performing arts high school, which I believe is just amazing. Yeah. Because you get to be around creatives. Oh, no, you get to get that inspiration from different sources of art. You know what I'm saying?
That definitely set the tone for the rest of my life. That school set the tone for what my life ended up being. So for sure, absolutely.
Do you think, as a trained player, how do you juxtapose the training and the production? And I think, because I mentioned something yesterday. I said, you know, at the end of this live stream with Babyface and Teddy Riley, we're gonna have heard some hooks. We're gonna have heard some chord changes. We're gonna have heard some pre-choruses. Yeah. Some bridges. You know, and I know as a player, learning how to play, studying what you've studied, making the music that you've made, there's been an emphasis at one point or another in, oh no, we got to make a bridge, and the bridge has got to go here. Even working with you, I've seen you focus, even when we've got something that's really dope as a main concept, I've seen you still focus on a B section or a bridge and to
Yeah.
make it its own thing. How do
Yeah.
you maintain the musicality or juxtapose the musicality with the production in terms of what's going on at the moment?
I try not to. I try not to out. And I try not to think myself out of a good idea. Right.
Oh,
I feel like a lot of times when we're musicians and we're producers, and I know too many, right, that are incredible musicians, but that doesn't necessarily transfer over to production, because they want to do so much. They want to show that they have all of this ability, and you have to know that people. Okay, the biggest lesson I learned about production and songwriting, and I think I might have told you this story. Was when I went to work with Jermaine on "You Got It Bad," right? My first time working with Usher and JD. I worked with JD on Jagged Edge and a few other things, but this was the first time I actually got a chance to be in the studio with Usher, right?
that was the first record you did with Usher, bro?
Mm-hmm. You Got It Bad,
Woo!
right? So, but here's the deal, I'm a musician, and at the time I was hanging out with a lot of music, like producers like J-Dub, who's like a phenomenal piano player. It was ridiculous. I was hanging around with a lot of musician guys, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to, when I started coming up with the chord progressions for "You Got It Bad," we have an 8-bar loop, and I'm filling the progressions up with all kinds of shit, just strings and all, just filling the shit up, right? Wind and all kinds of shit's going on, you know what I mean? Raindrops and craziness, right? So I go into the lounge and tell JD, like, yo, man, I got something. I want you to come hear these progressions or whatever. So he comes in, and I press play, and he listens to it, like maybe 5 minutes, listens to it a couple times, and then he comes over to the drum machine. So I'm sitting like by the keyboard, the drum machine's off to the left. He comes around to the drum machine, and he starts going through all the instruments and just muting all of the sounds, each sound. So I'm like, what the hell is he doing? You know what I'm saying? And he muted all the sounds down to just the nylon guitar thing and wind. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, we're gonna start here. So I'm like, what? So then he starts programming the drums, whatever, and I add like a bass line, and that was it. So basically, "You Got It Bad" is like kick, snare, hi-hat, key sound, like a little nylon boom, whatever thing, and then it's like a bass sound and wind. It's only 7 sounds in that song, right?
Wow.
Now let's take it a step further, right? When we start writing a song, right? Jermaine is like the lead writer as far as writing. It's like his pen. You've been there, like he's a genius songwriter. You know what I'm saying? So we start writing the song, and and then when it's time to cut the hook, right? We do the hook, write the hook, and it's ready to cut the hook, right? And I'm like, yo, we should add some harmonies to this hook. I got some harmonies. He was like, no, these aren't no harmonies. So if you notice, "You Got It Bad," the hook don't have no harmonies, there's no stacks. The only time this harmony is like in the second verse when he does the I truly adore you part. That's it. So it's basically a vocal,
Wow,
a stack, like 2 stacks in the hook, and then what embellished it was that guitar solo, right? And what I learned that day, first of all, I learned also that drops are everything. Like Jermaine's drop joints out, instruments in and out, this, then, and third at times. Like this was like a real lesson that I got. Like the first time I actually was like, I had an aha moment, like, oh shit, I've been going about this the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like less is more. But when you are a musician,
yeah,
you have the ability to stretch that less. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because you could do it like that. You could do a beautiful progression and just, and that can just, instead of filling that progression up with all kinds of other sounds, just let that progression live. And you put 4 drum sounds in that bitch, and you got a #1 record. That record's the #1 for 12 weeks, something like that. Pop charts. So I learned a valuable lesson about production, a valuable lesson about songwriting. Yes, Billy Odom was on guitar. About songwriting. And the songwriting lesson goes back to what I said earlier about the song being in the conversation. We talked to Usher for like 3 hours before we wrote that song. You know what I mean? And it was like, I didn't know what they were doing. I mean, obviously they had been doing this forever. It's like, you know, they coming off of my way, you know, they knew what the program was. I'm sitting there like, what? We ain't gonna get to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then we sat and we talked for like 3-4 hours. And then next thing you know, we start writing a song. And then everything that we talked about came from that. You know what I'm saying? So I've lived my entire life, as you know.
Yep.
When we start writing songs, I'm like, yo, let's talk about this. What are we talking about? What's going on in your life? What's going on in my life? But, you know, it's like it's a huge, big therapy session for everybody. Like I said, 'cause we've all gone through shit, and we all probably going through the same shit. And through that, these songs are created.
If you're just tuning in, my name is Kameron Corvet, one-time Grammy Award-winning songwriter. I'm here with Bryan-Michael Cox, my big bro. 9-time Grammy Award-winning producer, songwriter, just amazing, cool dude, historian of music, which I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, because I feel like anybody you work with or you are sharing time with, you're supposed to come away with some information. We've been talking about we were talking about production, and you segued into Usher, and not a lot of producers can say that they've grown with an artist. I think Babyface and Tony have that type of relationship as well. And I would like to ask, for people who are watching, songwriters, producers, how do you maintain that relationship over the course of albums? Because sometimes you know what they say about artists are, you know, we're all over the place.
How do I maintain what?
Well, you know what they say about artists, they're all over the place. So how do you maintain, when you're growing with an artist, how do you maintain that dynamic? Because, you know, you want the artist, you want to maintain that relationship. You want the artist to be able to be themselves, but you know that they're growing. So how do you grow with an artist from that standpoint?
You just got to stay with them, you know, or try, you know, if some relationships develop better than others. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's what I've learned throughout the years. Some things just grow. You know, some things are momentarily. Some things, like, you make a record for this person, it becomes a hit. You guys are cool doing that run, and then life happens. And I mean, you're always gonna be cool, but it's like it's not blocked. It's like you back in line trying to get back on the album again, versus being locked, right?
Yeah.
I've been super blessed, and that's the thing. Through my relationship with JD, I've been able to build relationships with these other artists that I've been able to work with and produce with, and I learned that through him, actually. As far as certain people, you just stay close to, right? Especially if you guys have chemistry. So, you know, like me and Usher hang out. We actually are friends, and we're in, you know, me, Usher, Keith, and like when we're all together, Jen. Like we all we're clicked up. So that energy, so whenever, you know, anything's happening from a work perspective, it's just easy for us to fall into that flow, because we're always around each other at some point. I mean, even if we go months without seeing each other, the energy's so thick right now. And it's been so long. It's been 20-some years now with them, right? Monica, the same thing. It's been like, you know, 20 years with Monica, and Monica is it's a proper friendship. It's not forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, I got to pick up the phone and call Monica. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Monica's my sister. We talk. We talk for hours. You know what I mean? It's just certain relationships you have some people have a connection with. Some people it's just work. You know what I mean? Yeah. And hopefully it could grow into a personal relationship. But most times, business, you're blessed. It's blessed. You know, we're blessed to have organic chemistry. We're blessed to be like, you know, for me and you to be friends without music. You know, like me and JQ to be like, me and JQ knew each other before music. You know what I mean? Me and JQ are actually more brothers than we've done very little work together. Wow. Very little. I mean, we've done some of the shit. We've done some incredible shit like Fantasia and Danny the King and stuff like that. But we've done very little work together as you know, outside of the stuff we did in Korea, stuff at AVAX. But we've done very little work together. We're actually more family and brothers than, you know. So some relationships develop. Some relationships are just business. Some relationships are like, hey man, you know, we got a chemistry in the studio. We're gonna work it out, and that's that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then hopefully it organically grows in the family. But it's really about you can't hold on for a second. Idris, quiet it down a little bit, man. I'm on a lot. Idris, you know, it's definitely a you know, it's definitely about having that organic energy. And luckily for me, I've been able to build a lot of those type of relationships. You know what I'm saying? Luckily for me, you know what I mean? Because I try to go into it really open-minded, and I try to go into it without I try to go into it knowing that I'm going to be somebody's therapist in doing these sessions. You know what I'm saying? So doing that whole concept, that's kind of how my relationships with these people build. And it's trust too. It's like, you can trust me with your information. Yeah. You know, we have a conversation, and, you know, there are things that I know about certain artists you guys will nobody will never know. Ever. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't pay me enough. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because the trust is way more important to me. Having their trust is more important to me. Having Mariah's trust is important. Having Usher's trust is important. Having Monica's trust is important. You know what I mean? Trust is the most important thing, and that's how we're able to have relationships through the relationships that we have. Having Jermaine's trust is important. You know.
Would you say, as a songwriter, I know we talked about production earlier and the less is more concept. I know people who tuned in to see Teddy Riley versus Babyface on the first night, they saw the less is more concept kind of be improving in the live streaming realm. Would you say the same about songwriting in terms of less is more? I mean, because I know from a hook standpoint, a lot of times they are very repetitive. You know, that became a trend. Let me just say the word 20,000 times so you know that it's the hook. But then there are other songs where where the song structure of the chorus leads you to the end of it, and the end of it is the hook. Or there's the beginning. What's your take on the simplicity in songwriting and in terms of your experience?
There's beauty in simplicity. I feel like what we heard last night kind of shows that, because a lot of those records, when you're young, you feel like, oh man, this is complicated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you listen to a record like Soon As I Get Home, and there's all these different changes, like, you know, has the verse and then the pre, you know what I'm saying? And then it goes into the hook, and then it goes, you know what I mean? But each part is singable. Each part is, the melodies just roll off your tongue, and the story, right, is being able to fit the story into something that is melodically digestible. Yeah. Right? What's crazy is, though, like, you take a song like Burn, right? Which I think was written very, very complicated, very complicated from a melodic perspective, right? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But we didn't even realize how melodically complicated it was. I didn't realize it until I started making a band, and guys were trying to sing the song and couldn't, and was running out of breath. Wow. You know what I'm saying? But Burn, it just seems complicated because it's just these triplet type, burn for me, but it's like that whole thing, right? But but if you listen to it, it's very, very direct melodically, and it's so clear. The message is very clear, right? So I feel like there is a or then you take a record like like Music Soul Child So Beautiful, right? Which, from mainstream perspective, mainstream R&B people might say, oh, that's some neo soul shit or whatever, right? Yeah. But it was a hit. You find that middle ground of not compromising the artsy people and still catering to, catering to mainstream radio or mainstream R&B. That's a perfect example. And we're talking about Prince. Prince, I think, is the epitome of that. The epitome of turning it on and turning it off.
True.
As far as going way, way left with the art and knowing that this shit is not, I'm just making this shit for me or for the people who appreciate my art. And then saying one day, hey, I'm gonna make diamonds and pearls. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I done gave y'all 2 years of, cause I was mad at Warner Brothers. I gave y'all 2 years of just wild ass art. But I think I want to make a hit record. So I'm gonna do Could You Be the Most Beautiful Girl in the World? You know what I'm saying? Like, Prince is a person that really, really is the just the composition of all of that, of being able to be as artistic as he wants to be and go left as hell and tell niggas to kiss his ass. And then say, all right, today we're gonna do, musicology and I'm gonna sell 1 million records.
I see a question here. I want to make sure I'm getting to the questions. Mm-hmm. It says, do you find it easier to get subject matter first, then build an instrumental around it and write lyrics, or let the song build itself and decide what the subject matter is?
Man, I wish I could answer that, because sometimes things happen. Things don't happen the same way every time. For sure. Right? Like I might be at the crib and I might hear something that sparks something, and I'm like, oh damn, I gotta think about this. And then I add melody, and you may sing it to your phone or whatever, and then you get to the studio and then it becomes a thing. Or it could be, a series of conversations I've had with a few friends over the past, like, for example, there's a song that we did for Usher that's on the Zoo album called Cup, right? Okay. And Cup is a concept that we were having conversations. Something that I saw Will Smith, I want to say it was Will Smith, I saw an interview. He was talking about him and Jada's marriage, and he said something like, it's not his responsibility for Jada to be happy. Her happiness is not his responsibility. You know what I mean? Mm. And his happiness is her responsibility. They have to find happiness on their own and then live inside of this thing. So I saw something else that was kind of in the same vicinity. They were talking about people come to relationships. Most times they 2 cups, and one cup is half, both cups are half full. And if, most times people are pouring into each other. Nobody's cup ever gets full, though. You know what I'm saying? You may pour into her, and she may get to about 3/4, and then now you're down to 1/4, and then she's doing well, and you're not doing so well, and then she may say, well, I'm pour back into him, and then get you to, a little bit over half. You know what I mean? Yeah. The purpose is to get as full as possible on your own. Okay. Try to get that cup all the way to the top and into some overflow shit. And hopefully that will attract somebody else whose cup is full and an overflow. And love lives inside of that overflow. You know what I'm saying? So wow. I remember we were talking about it, and it made Usher say, oh shit. He wanted to write something about it. We did it with Sean Garrett. So between Sean and Jermaine, they took that concept and started writing a song to it. And it's a monster. The song is, you know what I mean? It's a monster. You know what I mean? And like I said, this new Usher album, you guys are gonna get so much dope shit, because it's literally just a series of conversations that we've had. So, don't waste my time and Sex Beat are just literally scratching the surface. That's just the top layer. Like when you guys get into this album, it's going to be some shit there. You know what I'm saying? Some really, really, and melodically strong hooks on point.
Yeah.
His vocal is ridiculous on it this time. So it's like,
I mean, yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, that's the thing. But that, I said it to say that, you know, that was a concept that was something I had been writing like about my life, what I wanted my life to be. Like I want to have a full cup. I want my cup to be full and overflowed. And that conversation bled into us talking about it, and then they wrote a song about it. We wrote a song about it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, man.
I want to. I'm not gonna hijack CSAC's page for the whole rest of the day, but I did want to ask, you know, Love Zone, first of all. Shout out to Love Zone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I did want to touch on that. How often do you do that? I know we all appreciate your DJ sets. I just want to make sure that for those of us who kind of miss it because they're not aware, they're not up, or they're not paying attention, I just wanted to know kind of how everything works. I know D-Nice has passed it over to you. So,
well, usually that's what happens. Usually what happens, D-Nice will randomly, you know, see me in his chat and say, yo, I'm in there, and Cox, pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Love, I did it. I've done it twice. The first time I did it, we was just, I didn't have a thing. It was, I just picked it up and we did a set and it was great. Then when we did it Saturday, that's when the whole Love Zone concept came. Gotcha. And I was like, this is gonna be my lane. I'm gonna stay in this lane when I DJ after D-Nice. But then everybody started, you know, was being so excited about that particular concept. So last night was kind of random. You know what I'm saying? You know, usually I wouldn't have went on last night, but I felt so good after the battle, and I had been drinking champagne, and I was like, you know, fucking, I'm gonna jump on. so it was fun. It was fun. And I do a couple of things, some programming. We do Wednesday night. Me and Keith, we do Layers of R&B, which is a whole different vibe, whole different, you know, thing. I got this HBCU house party thing that I do that's strictly for college, you know, the nostalgia, college campus nostalgia, shit like that. Big up to my boy K-Fam in here. K-Fam.
I know K-Fam was up in this joint.
Fam, bro. You know, I mean, I'm doing all kinds of programming. Like tonight, when I got to get off actually. At 8 o'clock, I'll be doing beats with Bombay. Okay. So I'm going to be making a beat live and answering questions and going through different. I may pull up a couple of ideas that I started and kind of break them down. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. I'm just going to be a conversation. So we're going to make beats. I'm going to go through samples. I'm going to see what's cracking. And I'm doing, you know, I'm doing all kinds of programming on this thing. You know what I mean? I got a thing called Mastery that I'm.
I saw that.
So me and Jonte have this thing called Mastery that we'll be starting.
Shout out to Jonte, one of the best, best for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, we're just going to use this platform, man, to just continue to bring proper energy to the atmosphere, and you know. And I'm just, you know, like I said, we've been sitting still. People, I talked to a friend in New York today. You know, she reminded me that it's been 6 weeks. You know, she's been sitting still for 6 weeks. You know, we've been sitting still in Atlanta for about a good 5 weeks. You know, and you know, I know people are anxious to get back out there and all that, but I'm telling y'all, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in Georgia, but Atlanta specifically, stay home.
Stay home, y'all.
Don't let Governor Kemp get y'all killed because y'all trying to get y'all nails done, man. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
Like,
for real.
Stay home. You know what I mean?
Stay home for sure. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you dropping by. You know, I know you and I have our relationship.
Yes, sir.
CSAC has been kind enough to let me use their platform to have conversations with people that I have conversations with frequently, but just not in front of everybody. Yeah. So I appreciate you taking some time to jump on, answering questions. Everybody, make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock. 8
o'clock. 8 o'clock.
And just keep your eyes peeled because you never know when B's going to jump
pop
on.
up. Yeah. I mean, I'll pop up randomly making beats. I'll be popping up randomly on, you know, my homegirl Stephanie. She does a a Thursday night cocktails with Stephanie thing. So I'll be hopping on there talking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we just, we at the crib. What do we, all you can do. This has been the best shit though. I feel like the stillness has been good for me personally. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are struggling. You know what I mean? Because their businesses are closed and stuff like that. So I have an insane amount of empathy for that. You know what I mean? But for me, because we spend so much time moving around, and I've been able to really spend a lot of time with my son the past couple of weeks. It's like overload. You know what I'm saying? And it's been amazing though. This has been a time for me to really kind of put things in perspective. You know what I mean? And what is important.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's one thing to chase your dream, and you should never let your dream die, right? But it's another thing to, once you get your dream, once you become successful, you know what I mean? Once you get where you're going, and you're always trying to go to the next level. Trust me, nothing's ever enough. You're like, oh, okay, I won one Grammy. I need to get another Grammy. I need to get one. I mean, everything. Nothing's ever enough. But you have to get to a place where you have to create some balance, and just that chase. After a while, it's just like, what the hell are we chasing?
Yeah.
I'm chasing myself now. I'm chasing.
Yeah.
You might as well just just stop. Stop and just smell the roses, man. Embrace the young people, embrace the new shit, and be and to just never get complacent, but always understand that there's room for balance. Take some time for your family. Take some time, to fall in love. Take some time to, take some time for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Song right there, bro. If anybody's listening, take some time to fall in love.
Take time to fall in love, because nigga, you be fucking 55 years old, and I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I got a lot of friends who are in their 50s who still be in the club. But I'm probably gonna be in the club. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, but it's just, it's a, you don't want to be that, you just don't want to be that old cat looking back saying, man, I didn't try none of that shit. At least try it. If it doesn't work, it's not for me. But just give it a shot. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna bring it back to Face and Teddy real quick, because during the time when they were split, right, you saw them both kind of go into their bags. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was very interesting that Babyface decided to play Change the World, his record with Eric Clapton. I thought it was another interesting moment, because you're seeing an R&B songwriting legend who's also written these other amazing records.
A lot of other amazing records too, like in other genres, a lot.
And he pulls out, boom, Eric Clapton, I'm on the acoustic, and I'm gonna play Change the World, boom, boom, all the chord changes and everything. I thought it was amazing. So I know people are tuning in and they want to know, and I want to know. You've been asked this before. I saw billboards write up about it. Who won?
Man. No comment, man. No comment. No comment, man.
I definitely just think know it was a good showing, bro.
Just know that I have analyzed this battle over and over again. And I will say this. I will say that there was about 4 to 5 records that I would have played differently that Ted played.
Okay.
Teddy played a few records I wouldn't have played. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why did he play that?
I didn't hear Remember the Time, and I didn't hear End of the Road. I was just kind of like, but
we didn't hear My Prerogative. We didn't hear
My Prerogative, bro.
So many songs we didn't hear. So there would have been about 4 or 5 records that I would have played differently. I definitely wouldn't have played Deep, and I like that song. But you're playing for for people who want to hear hits. But I just think it was just amazing, man. Like I just was on a high. You know what I mean?
Me too, bro.
On a super high. And for them, really they needed to go like 40 songs.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I'm saying?
I saw a comment that said, when I said who won to you, someone said we won, and I really do think
Yeah, we won.
that we did win. You know,
We won. Yeah, like they should have went 4. Like they could have went 3 hours.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
They could have went 3 hours. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, but I feel like even again, I feel like Kenny was better prepared. I feel like Kenny was better prepared ultimately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what we saw last night was ridiculously phenomenal. It was fun. We all had a great time, and you know, I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again, unless it's a Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of energy. Unless it's like a Dr. Dre, you know, Puff, JD. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in that realm. You know what I'm saying?
I know I'm speaking for a lot of people. I would love to see Puff and JD. I would love to see you. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see Salam. I would love to see Salam.
Salam Remy would be dope.
Tricky would be dope. I think on one too. So, you know.
Tricky would be dope. I mean, there's a lot of producers. Polo would be good. I think
Polo would be great.
A lot of producers out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. That I think that should be in the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, we'll see. You know, I've been, you know, Swiss is my dude, and me and Tim, that's my boy. So we've been talking. It's just a matter of, you know, when. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm down. I'm ready. For whoever they, you know, put across the table from me. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's really fun. It's all about fun, man.
Yeah, it is all. It's all in good fun. Yeah. I mean, I saw the spoof that Ted did later on where he had Bryan come in, and I think that was just class act right there.
Fun,
you know,
just fun, good fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Good fun, dog. And that's the thing. I just wanted to be fun. Like John Neo's was great. Little John and T-Pain's was great.
Yep.
You know, I mean, all of them were really good, man. You know, I just think that you know, it needs to be fun, and I'm ready to have fun. You know, y'all know, you know, I'm ready to have fun. So,
and it speaks to your point earlier when you were talking about during this time period where you get creative and you come up with something new. This is a classic example of how something negative has been turned into a positive.
We're seeing shit that we would never ever see.
Yep.
Never see. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing things we would never ever see. So, you know, I think that's just, you know, kudos to Tim and Swiss. And, you know, it's going to be good. As soon as I know, though, everybody's asking, everybody wants to see me do it. I'm down to do it. Me, Tim, and Swiss, we've already talked about it.
Cool. We love it.
You know, we're down to do it. I'm just waiting for them to let me know when and who. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And because I don't, because it's not about oh, I'm the best, and it's about we're really giving the people some real culture and some real, you know, some real love, man. The love of music. Like that last night, man, like you said, we won. The love of music, the love of those records, them eras, that vibe. And that's why I went on. I was like, yo, I started DJing because I was like, yo, I want to play some of my favorite Teddy and Babyface joints that they probably wasn't even thinking about putting on the list. Now, I wanted to hear My Kind of Girl and Him and Me, or Jane Child's remix, or, you know, Can't Stop by After 7. I wanted to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why I went on. I was like, man, I've been drinking the champagne. I'm about to get on now. So it's like, you know, it definitely put a battery in your back. It's super inspiring to see our legends come together like that and do something that we'll never see again. So I was just excited to see it. And because I gotta get off soon, I want to say I just hope that it inspired young people. Hope it inspired young people to say, you know what, let me pick up an instrument. I'm not just gonna only draw in chords, and, you know, and I'm gonna say that's a bad thing. I want everybody to feel like the way music is being made now, niggas is fired. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I would say this. For me, it was important for me to know everything.
Yep.
not only just how to, you know, program drums or not only just to, know how, cause I had to teach myself how to draw in chords and shit on Ableton because I was like, I want to know how they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I also always wanted to have the gift of sitting at a piano without anything else and being able to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
man.
I've always wanted that. Like you can pick up a guitar no matter where you are, man. No matter what's going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? No matter what's happening. If there's a guitar and a mic there, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Boom.
You can get it, right?
Yes,
I've
sir.
always wanted to have that situation where I could just, if I needed to be at a piano and there was nothing else there, somebody was like, write something. I could write it. I could at least call the chord changes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you for coming through for me. I know I'm about to get logged off on here. So check out B tonight at 8.
8 p.m.
Look out for Love Zone. And my name is Cameron Corvet, CSAC. We love you. Peace out.